Hey everybody! Today we have a pretty interesting show for you guys. I'm Alex,
And
May.
May?
Marco.
Hey, so for the last 2 weeks we have been following this the um, Sam. I'm sorry, Sam something Freed.
Sam
So,
Batman-Free.
Sam Batman Freed. I'm sorry, I just know as the guy with the afro, but yeah, I mean the story is getting juicier and juicier. I start looking at YouTube, and then this thing is like on the scale, if not more, of like in terms of fraud, is almost like Theranos. Um, I, 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 I've heard about the guy, and it's just absolutely appalling what's going on. So, but to me, it's just a juicy story. To May over here, she pretty much lives through it because she has a crypto trading company, and she uses FTX as her main platform. So I'm very curious. I would like to dedicate this episode to really interview May, just to kind of have her vent out her pain to us too. So I'm sorry you have to go through this. So yeah, so why don't we just start off by telling us, May? I mean, how do you first come across FTX? Like, what was your initial experience with them? Yeah, I mean, how was it like dealing with them, and was it how's it like with them in the beginning when everything's very promising?
well, I've known FTX since 2020. We've heard of them, but we use it since 2020. The first time that we used Binance. And Binance gave us good liquidity. We are a software firm. So we develop our own trading strategies and trading our own ports.
Mhm.
And then we provide our software through APIs, to help others. But we don't manage their money. Means that the API that they give us, we cannot touch their money, as in we cannot withdraw their money. We can just like trade. And first we used Binance, and then we started to see FTX, and it looks super promising. So we start slowly move our individual fund to FTX, and behind the scene, the tech in the background, FTX was super good compared to Binance. You're talking about tech. FTX genuinely designed for people who are the serious trader, who use quantitative trader and bot trading. FTX really designed for those people. And I remember I had this conversation with FTX probably beginning of 2021 or end of 2020. Around that time, FTX has only 5 people working. And then November last year, FTX has 300. So when FTX has only 5 people working, we have Binance and FTX, and we trade kind of equally. And then as FTX starting to grow, we start to feel more confident. We start to appreciate the technology behind that, and we start to see a lot of volumes coming in. And when it's big enough, as we start to feel more confident in FTX. And that's how everything started. We moved the fund more from Binance to FTX.
And what about, so if I could understand, so FTX actually as a platform, I would say it, it's more, you could do more with it, correct?
You can do way more with it. Sturdy, faster, how it reconciles. Even a sub account that Binance doesn't have. At the time, sub account, it was like long ago, a couple of years back.
Yeah.
Sub account is a very new idea. It means that you have multiple accounts under one big umbrella of yours. Binance doesn't have that. So if you have 5 strategies, all the fund will be pooled in one account, and you will see a lot of trading going on. But at the back end, you have to do your accounting. But FTX, you can put strategy A, strategy B, DCA, buy and hold, or speculations, or quant trading. So those things you can separate. You can have, I don't know, I had like 20 sub accounts and it's still like valid. So those little things help people manage their funds and improve efficiency while
Yeah.
trading with FTX. So what I'm saying is FTX actually has had a good product.
Yeah. If I can just step in and kind of emphasize on that point, Alex, imagine like you have a stock trading account, right? And usually, for anyone, like 99.9% of people would just like, press buy and sell, or like buy limit, sell limit. But for a very serious quantitative trader, they need to write the software, right, to trade for them. And these platforms, they have these called API. So it's kind of like function that you can like plug you can write a software to plug
And
into
what does
different
API stands
reports.
for? Just for the audiences out there.
I
Let me
never
look
looked
it
it up.
Okay.
Yeah, you look it up and I'll continue.
No, it's
So,
not a
Okay.
good
yeah,
question, but
yeah.
just
So no, it's a good question.
It's a good question. We've talked about this application programming interface.
Yeah. So it's for serious like programmer who wants to write these automated programming to
Okay.
trade for them. So you don't limit yourself with just like the basic functions on your screen. So I think one thing is that FTX provide more API or more different kind of functions for people who are serious about like writing their own quantitative trading program, and at the same time they have these sub account function where you can like divide your account into like sub accounts, so you can have like different programs running simultaneously at the same time, where Binance doesn't have the sub account function.
Okay.
And it's faster too. When you send an order, FTX respond faster, and the downtime when things crash, FTX crash less compared to, the historical record, it crashed less.
But
When
when
it
you
comes
say
to
crash, is like your sub account function crash, or
the
what does it
server's
mean by
down,
crash?
varies of meanings. Means like you can't log in, but API still working. API means like connection between us and FTX is an interface. So API is working, or sometimes API down, but the time that our application can't access FTX is kind of low, and you're talking about minutes here.
I see. So
Okay, so
FTX is a much better platform and product, in your
Yes,
view,
it's
for
just the
for
quantitative trading.
quantitative traders. Yes.
it's just the people behind it that the type of things that are going on is more dubious, I guess. But as a thing itself, it's actually a lot better.
Well, until now, I love the product. Until now, I still feel like FTX has one of the kick-ass product of all the exchanges. I still be able to say that, but I think the motives behind running or even over leverage, or news flying around, I think the behavior of the managements, including the CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, I think is unacceptable. I really like. So what I'm saying is, the product and the people, they're two different things. But I really, really admire the product. I really admire the ideas behind that.
And as the drama unfolds, right? What was your did you notice anything different, different that started to happen within the company? And when did you realize that, oh, crap, like this thing is really getting really it's really starting to affect you.
We tried to move our fund, and we couldn't, and we knew some people in FTX personally, and they didn't know anything. So it's kind of shocking, because there are two things: FTX and Alameda. And Alameda is like has a lot of fun providing to FTX as a liquidity provider, and actually what's collapsing is both of them. So you would see that the fund is like being manipulated and then FTX goes down with it because it's tied financially through loans and staking with Alameda.
So
So
Alameda is actually the same as your company, right? They're
um,
also a quantitative trading company
no, it's a
using
liquidity
a lot of
provider. So actually, one can say that FTX and Alameda works as the same entity, but they may not also provide liquidity for everybody else.
but well, my question was that so Alameda is actually the same type of company that May you are running, right? They're
It
also doing a
has
lot of
it has a quantitative trading, yes, so that part is similar. But it has other part which is liquidity providing and also investment. Those parts I don't have.
so what I understand the problem was that FTX was kind of illegally taking these user fund. So they were just providing you a screenshot that you own these crypto, whereas like the actual crypto is being like transferred behind the scene into Alameda. So Alameda has all this money and started to trade using those crypto to provide so-called liquidity into the FTX platform,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it looks like this is what was going on during
Yeah, it
that
looks
time.
like what it looks like that. Yes.
Yeah. So May, I guess when did you? I mean, when you say like you started to transfer out your fund, it was because like what? Because ZZ said, he's gonna sell all the FTT, or when was the exact time when you're like, I need to do something about this.
Yeah, it's like I called some of my family first, and they got it out, but I didn't transfer mine out right after. And personally, I because we don't know how much he has, and actually a couple of days ago, CC tweet, we have bags of FTT still, right? So I don't know what he did, but and I don't know how much he sold. And what I this is my personal experience, my personal opinion too. I was thinking that CZ didn't think that this will create this much of a palaver, drama, and disruption in a negative way. Um, I don't think he foreseen that, and I don't know how much he sold, or he just tried to create panic. This part I didn't know, but at the time I thought, I didn't think it's going to destroy the whole exchange.
So it's almost as if, in parallel with normal stocks, as if like something like this were to happen to Nasdaq, or
Yeah, I think what people underestimate, which is me and a lot of people, is we don't understand the relationship between how FTT mint and stake at Alameda and on top of each other. So the way that they over leverage on their coins, we talk about SRM, we talk about FTT, the coins that they have, the coins that they mint, and the coin that they bring the price up really high. So they create money from thin air. And then they use that to stake and get money back. People might argue US dollars did the same thing, but and then use the productivity of the country against the dollars, and then FT3 trying to play Fed, but in a very greedy way. So they print coins from thin air and try to get people to use FTT productivity and believe in FTX productivity, and use that against the coin price. But I guess it didn't work.
from my understanding, they actually did this to they used the money towards lobbying government and also funding their campaigns to gain more influence. Is that correct? And basically making
Yeah.
investment decisions, covering for the bad investment decisions.
Um,
Yeah.
I know that Sam is very close to the political people. I know that he support Biden a lot. I don't understand the accounting. I don't know which money he used to support, but very likely he used money from FTX. And so yes, he sponsored a lot. FTX sponsored a lot of racing cars campaign or basketball campaigns and a lot of campaigns and support a lot of political figures. Yes, they did that.
Gosh, May, I feel so feel for you, man, because this is, I couldn't imagine if yeah, I couldn't imagine one thing if the stock market crashed, but it's another thing because of, a couple of individuals, foolhardiness, causes everything. Now basically, your money is stuck there. You can't even withdraw at all. It's just pretty much.
I don't think you can call that money. I don't know if there's going to be anything left after, Chapter 11 filing bankruptcy. I'm sure there's something left, but I don't know how much. You might look at 20%, you might look at 30%. If you're lucky, you might get, I don't know, 50%, but 50% is too optimistic. So yes, there's something inside, but we have to wait until everything dissolves. And I think the one part of it, I think I talked to my friend about this, is when people trying to do something ahead of regulators, there's a good part and there's a bad part. And the good part is we can show our initiatives, we can do things forwardly, we can do things fast. But bear in mind that these people are not non-profit organizations. There are profit-driven entities. So they are trying to do something. So you're looking at Binance as well, FTX, that's ahead of regulations and trying to set their own rules. And FTX went beyond trying to lobby, to talk to people, to have the rules. And then things didn't go well, as we saw. But when you look at this part of people go ahead of the regulations, and then you see that people try to use empathy of others. Sam slept in a sleeping bag on the floor. He gave money. He said bigger is better. All those things. Terranos said sob story about her uncle who died, and she didn't want that an incident to happen to anyone, so she invented this thing. So people use others' empathy, manipulate people's empathy on behalf of someone who's ahead of the game. And I think we will start to see that more and more as regulators walking slower than people. You will see that in metaverse. You will see a lot of profit-driven organizations jump into metaverse. People have their own agendas. You will see a lot of brand names go there, a lot of graphic designers, a lot of games, a lot of people jump into metaverse, and they're trying to set up rules, cultures, protocols, so on and so forth in the world. And I think this is a very interesting part that we can look at, that regulations, sometimes it can do funny things, sometimes it can do bad things, and we don't necessarily agree with regulators all the time. But not having regulators pose another problems too. So we are in the crossroad of which way we should go and how we should probe the society.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
I think okay.
Please.
I think what it is that usually in the time of bankruptcy, right? Like, and Alex and I would just kind of watch it as a news. It's a very interesting news. But I think in your case, where you have a lot of stake in it, I would really recommend you to kind of go aggressively finding someone who is in charge of the bankruptcy and put your name forward and say, hey, I want my money back. And I think usually whoever put their effort in front would get paid first whenever the asset is being liquid. So I think being aggressive being proactive about this is it's the only way to go, I think. But anyways,
Agree.
yeah, Alex, you were saying.
Oh no, I was like so right now, May, what are you doing in terms? Is there anything that you're doing in your organization that is
Oh,
that has changed a lot since what like how would you go about doing your business in the future? And is
okay.
there immediate change that you're doing?
The thing is, our software is still intact because it's detached from FTX. We still have connections to Binance. I mean, we can trade with Binance. We can trade with a lot of exchanges. Um, I've I'm so lucky to have a lot of good friends contacting me behind the scenes saying that, look, I can connect you to this and that people. And I start to have a lot of good people coming and a lot of exchanges that wants to help up with the strategies. But right now, it's not the help that 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 help is not the only thing I need, but now I have to understand the proof of reserve. Each exchange when I talk to, when they want to support us, I also require the proof of reserve or see how they're going to prevent something that happened to FTX with their exchanges. We are going to diversify. I mean, FTX was the second largest. So we can go with Binance, but who knows? So even with Binance, we have to diversify. The strategy is still the same, but we looking more into DeFi. So yeah, we still have good hedging models. We still protect strategy wise against the downside that we have, and I think this is something that we need when people feel like crypto is about to get to the bottom and we want to try something out. We want to put something. I think crypto is about to get to the bottom, but it might stay here for a bit,
Yeah.
and liquidity might be low, but the strategy will be there, and it will protect the port. So I'm so my new scheme is to try to deploy this on the different platforms. DeFi is one of them because then you know how much you have in your wallet, how much you have in the pool, so you will see all the transactions happening.
Okay.
So that could answer some of the questions. But yeah, we're moving towards that a lot, and we serve a lot of exchanges right now as software as a service because they still need our strategies to hedge against their ports. Yes.
Okay.
But what's stopping your firm to look into trading stock with your technique? Because I mean, stock market, it's proven, it's regulated. You don't have to deal with all this uncertainty. I mean, Binance is still a centralized exchange without like proper regulation. So I think the risk is still there. And I don't trust EZ. I already expressed my feeling about that.
Because I mean, it would be horrible if people all move to Binance. All of a sudden, they realize as people are cracking down on this, they start to dig up a lot of skeleton and little closets, and then realize that FTX is actually not an isolated case. That would be disastrous, I think.
Yeah. Yes. So to answer Marco's question, why don't I move to the stock market? I think stock market is very interesting. We have a few prospects, but it's going to take much larger fund to run the strategy compared to what we have um, in cryptocurrencies, because it's going to require a lot of tools. Options are expensive. With short is like everything is expensive, and in the stock market. So the strategy from the mathematic point of view, it works, but then when it comes to the practical sense, it is to do I have to deal with a lot of bureaucracy work, and I don't mind doing that, and it takes much larger fund, and I don't mind doing that with if the fund is provided for. But what we don't have, to be honest with you, is a track record using our strategies on stock market. And I think this is a part that if we want to try, this is a part that we need to explore on.
Hmm.
Okay. Is there anything else? Like what, for example, what is the takeaway? If I would imagine some of the people out listening, or go and watch the video later, might actually are actually not involved in cryptocurrency, but probably might be curious about it. Is there anything that any type of wisdom you could expound on that from experience?
I
If they
think the
want to
word,
make, you know,
yeah, I think
should
the
they?
word too big to fail is
Mhm.
not true.
What? To what?
Too big to fail.
Hmm.
I think the word is not true. And well, luckily that a lot of people that I'm working with, they use only risk capital to put in their ports. And that's
Yeah.
what I emphasize, all of them, to put only the risk capital in the ports. So I think it's important for a person to understand this is my capital and this portion is a risk capital, so I can risk
Yeah.
only this much. And I think the word risk capital is good. It's going to save your butt in the future. And I think diversify. I mean, I still have some assets. I still have gold. I still have other things. So it's good to diversify.
Yeah, so if I emphasize what May was trying to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, May doesn't believe in too big to fail, whereas like in the past, our parents' generation, they're so custom of investing into the blue chip company, are the biggest company and the proven companies. Uh, yeah, and it's no longer the case anymore. We've seen Lehman Brothers fail. We've seen
There's
Enron
still.
fail, and now it's FTX. So it's yeah, it's true. Like even if blue chip companies are so big and so-called successful and proven, you still have to look into the risk and fundamental of the company. You can't just
Yes.
like say, okay, because everybody's buying it, and I'm just going into doing that too. Yeah.
Mhm. I
Okay.
think that part, and it's difficult. Um, it's difficult when it's not a public company. Then you have to look at the numbers and the numbers that they've shown, and numbers that you can find it on chain, and all the numbers that you find along, aside with everything. And it's not that everything is out there for you to find. So that part is difficult too. Binance trying to make it transparent, but you know that the accounting, when it comes to the group of companies, it's going to be hectic. It's going to be messy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. I think centralized is not good. Yeah. I think we need to uh, really just make everything DeFi.
Mm, mm, yeah, or transparent,
Yeah. Well, if it's DeFi, it has to be transparent, right?
of
Because you can
course.
look it
Yes.
up. You don't even need to trust. You can verify.
Sure. On that
Okay.
on that scale, yes.
So if there's nothing more that we wish to add, we're running towards 30-minute mark. But
Hmm.
is there anything else that you guys would want to add before we log off? Or?
I think this is a very special interview of May. She gave us a very good insight of what her experience with this whole drama. And
Yeah.
we continue to keep track with the story. I'm sure there are more companies now. As Gemini's is in trouble. Yeah, so I'm
Grayscale.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure next week we probably gonna be talking about Gemini's uh,
Mm,
Wow.
failing or already fell.
This
yeah.
channel has become like the harbinger of bad
Yeah.
news.
Yeah.
And
And yeah. And before I leave, I think be careful of bank run. People are very scared. So be careful, because people are panicking, and now the trust is quite low towards them centralized anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Cool.
Um, Maybe we'll talk after this. And yeah, I really feel for you, man. It's
Thank
but
you.
in the meantime, I think we have reached our mark and right on the dot. So thank you very much, you two, again. We will see you next week, hopefully with better circumstance. And yeah, I'm signing off. I'm Alex again.
And May.
Marco.
Okay, we'll see you next
Bye.
week. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.